For a while now, I have been toying with the idea of what is true education. Obviously, we have the academic level of education in the sense of go to school, obtain degrees, and so on. But I have a sense that by now, most people would agree that education is different than schooling. You can be schooled, you can have degrees, but you're not educated anywhere else besides that one specific part. And again, don't get confused in the sense of I'm saying education and proper schooling doesn't matter. That is not the point of this video. The point is to really ask ourselves, what does it mean to be educated, and can we be educated in different forms as well? And now, knowing that schooling is not the same as education, comes also the understanding that there are plenty of degrees that are not necessarily ROI positive. Hi, my name is Luis, and I've been living in abroad, really, for about 8 years, almost a decade now. And I have gotten my high school diploma here in the US, then my undergraduate degree, and then my master's degree, all here in the US. But I also studied in Italy, I've studied in England, and obviously, since I am from Brazil, in Brazil too. There are a lot of things in this world that I don't understand, but there are a few of them that I actually do, and academic education turns out to be one of them. I actually, being around in so many different countries and for such a long time has helped me understand how most people study, how at least the Western world sees education. So I had privilege to get exposure to a lot of different systems and how people approach education. This episode is a part of a 4-video series that I'm doing that are much like this, calmer, just, one-on-one type of conversation in which I'm talking about things that I actually have experience on, and perhaps you will take a couple of things from here that you can implement into your own life and that you'll be able to find value from them. And for the record, I have, my notes over here as I want to address certain topics. So 1, I don't forget them. 2, I don't get sidetracked. And 3, it does feel a lot more, spoken and not too edited. That is the goal of these 4 videos. I want to see if there is a platform and if there is space for this type of content on the internet. I think there is. I think the audience is out there, and perhaps you're one of these people. Perhaps you're not. Perhaps you are. So we're gonna find out. Unless you're doing a hard skill in the sense of either it's an intellectual hard skill that you learn and you apply a concept, or a hard skill in the sense of like coding, for example, right? There are plenty of degrees that are not ROI positive, and that is largely due to the fact that, schools generally in the US got a lot more expensive. I think I can make that same point for Brazil as well, but public education is a lot more widespread in Brazil. So there's that side as well. Again, system to get into school in Brazil is a lot different, but as a general note. But I think that what most of us, and myself included for a while, hadn't realized is that true education doesn't really come from school, right? It comes from the stuff that you learn outside of school. It comes from the stuff that you get interested in. It comes from the stuff that you feel your body just like, hey, like seek this knowledge because you're curious about this. You want to know about this. You want to learn from this. You want to grow from this type of information. And with that said, we read books and we listen to podcasts and we go through all these notes and we try to grow our knowledge base. It always hit me that it would be very cool, but very cool, to see other creators or people that inspire us. It would be cool to see where they get inspired from, right? Like my inspirations, who are their inspirations? What are they reading? Who are they listening to? What songs are they listening to? What type of conversations are they having? Because this is curious, and even more interesting on a personal level to me is if these people are getting this knowledge to grow their businesses and to go through all of that. I would love to know what they were reading when their business kicked in, right? Like what was happening? What was going on? Because it's like a documentation thing. Like it's hey, like this person actually hit the mark when they were going through this method. It's not like you're watching these people get successful and then they tell you what to do, and well, now it's it's all ex post. It's all after the fact. It's all a matter of like, hey, like you're kind of sort of pointing down a finger at you and telling you what to do. Whereas perhaps when they were doing it, they did something different. So in other words, I would have loved to see their progress, their growth in a timeline. With that said, I started to think about my own growth and my own time here in the US, and I have realized that I have been taking classes for a while now after school. And these classes have been incredibly, incredibly helpful for my growth, both to what I think as a person, as a, as a son, as a friend, as a student, as a business owner, and so on. Like, I think that the growth that I've had over the past few years can truly be attributed, can truly be brought back to what was I reading? What was I interested in? What were the conversations that I was having? So then comes the true topic of this video, which is we should be building our own private self-degree, self-taught university. We should each individually be trying to take classes that are getting us the next degree. And we should be getting our own degree. And when I say we should, I only mean in the sense of if you identify yourself with the things that I've said so far. If the things that I've said so far resonate with you, then I think we might be in the same bucket. If you're perfectly fine with your life and your current state of mind, this video is probably not for you. The internet's big enough. We can't appeal to everybody. So I really am talking to a specific group of people. And with that all said, I think that knowing that the people that I'm inspired by, they get inspiration from somewhere, I figured that at some point, as I've had friends reach out to me, it's like, Luis, what are you reading this week? Like, what's up with you? Because sometimes I have good recommendations for them. I think I would share this here. Because the benefit that I've gotten from the information or the people that I'm about to tell you has been incredible, has been truly, 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 truly life-changing. And there's no reason for me to not share with you the people that have been incredible teachers to me, right, in some way or another. So, here are my core curriculum classes, and I wrote a little list, and maybe I'll put it on the screen. So first of all, for overall health, in sense of, what are my daily habits, what are the things that I should be trying to be doing, I think that this is a staple for now. The Huberman Lab Podcast, those are long conversations. He breaks it down, science to layman, and it's not this, it's chef's kiss. Then on the lifestyle and mental health section, so if I were to be taking a class in like lifestyle and mental health, I think there are 3 classes that I've taken that have been incredibly helpful. First of all is the Minimalists podcast. There's an incredible amount of value I've gotten from that podcast over the past 6 years, 7 years. Then Gary Vee. Oddly enough, Gary Vee. He has a bunch of content on marketing and strategies and all that jazz. But when you listen to it for long enough, there are a few episodes here and there that it's really clear. It's in every single episode or every single piece of content that he puts out, or 90% of them. But some of these materials are super out there. He has a bunch of stuff on mental health, on, doing shit that you like, doing shit that's important to you, doing shit that's incredible to you, because that will play a role on how you see the world and how you treat yourself and how you treat others. And finally, the Daily Stoic. Funnily enough, eventually it came to me that the Minimalist podcast, he also gets inspiration from the Daily Stoic. So that's kind of how I also got into the Daily Stoic. I was like, he mentioned somewhere at some point that he was reading a message, or something came up. He mentioned Ryan Holiday, and I was like, hang on a second, I heard that name. And then, that's kind of when I also started getting into that. On the physical health side, I found out about movement culture, Ido Portal, through a very good friend of mine, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Because the gym, to me, I love going to the gym, and it always felt like a therapy, but at some point, the movements all seemed like it's always like an axis situation, like X, Y, like point A to point B, up and down, right or left. It's like you have to do it a certain way, and my body started to feel stiff because I'm in a computer for a lot of the time, and then when I go to the gym and all this stuff, all my movements are kind of like the same. So doing movement culture and moving in a 3D, 3 dimensions has been incredible for my body, and I've been feeling a lot different about it. And if any of the stuff that I'm telling you seems to resonate, I will put everything below, because again, the goal is that maybe you're gonna find stuff that's also helpful to you. On business, my current 3 favorites, my 3 favorite authors are Tim Ferriss for a long time, and the 4-hour work week has hit me hard ever since I read it for the first time. And not because of the whole automation situation, although that is very interesting, indeed, very interesting, but more on the location independence part. I think I have a video on that. I don't know if I'm posting before or after this video, but there is a location independence video topic that I'm passionate about. Then, second one is Alex Hormozi. I found him relatively recently, I think about a year ago, maybe a little less. That is 2 current books. I'm reading them again, and it's been pretty useful. It's I am saying that's a lot better than any other of my business classes that I've ever taken. And then Russell Brunson, also a very business guy, and you're gonna see him on a different category as well, because he does go into marketing too, which leads me to my next section, marketing. So far the classes that I've been taking would be health, so overall health, lifestyle and mental health, physical health, business, and I guess, just a side note, the Huberman Lab Podcast, I guess I could just call it science too, right? But I guess applied science for the most part, because it's usually things that apply to your body and to your habits and so on. And then physical health, business, and now marketing, I would say Gary Vee again, because Vayner Media is the CEO of VaynerX, so he has that appeal. Russell Brunson, I have one of the books. It's actually the linchpin. It's over here. So it's working, clearly. This marketing is working because I am talking about this. I have been learning a lot about it. Jim Edwards and Copywriting Secrets, super interesting. Alex Hormozi, he does have some marketing stuff too, so it does overlap. And then within my core classes, because of the path that I decided to go to, which is this, filmmaking situation, Matt Diavella has a course that when I bought it was steep for me. So worth it. So worth it. I waited to buy it. I saw it like 2 years prior, and the price was lower, and at the time it was really steep for me, and then it got just steep, but bought it. He's got a community over there, super sweet. He took his time with the course. I learned a lot from it, and I will be forever grateful he decided to put that out. Lizzie Peirce on photography, and I guess YouTube too. Her videos are fantastic. She's got the energy down, and I can be super high energy, but I think for the most part I am generally calmer. I guess I have the zoomies, but yeah, love her videos too. I've learned a lot from them, especially when I was going through, do I want to go into filmmaking or photography? And I was kind of doing both, so I learned a lot there. Full-time filmmaker. I haven't taken the course, but I've watched a ton of the videos. Same situation. Abdaal, of course, on filmmaking, but more in the sense of he's an inspiration of how he delivers his material, aesthetics of the looks, and all of that. So that has been interesting. I also haven't taken his course, so maybe one day. I'm thinking about it too, so it's been on the list. And then I would say that my electives, my university electives, that perhaps some of them are going to be interesting to you. Italian lessons, voice lessons, digital marketing courses, color grading academy, which is my current biggest issue. Color grading is a nightmare. And then Chris Voss's masterclass on persuasion. Not this, again. Chef's kiss again. Anyway, I can give you a gigantic list of materials that I've learned a lot from, but this is just an idea. And if I'm being very honest with you, I've learned a lot more from these people than my degrees. I think that throughout my college career and my master's, I would say there's been 1 or 2 professors that I'm like, I would go and have an apprenticeship with this person because they are that valuable. Whereas for these people, I would not, like, without a doubt, go into under their wing and be like, can I just shadow you for like 3 months, 6 months? Like, for sure. And it says a lot because, this is not, I've been through school. And I've always been a student who likes to be high achieving, likes to get high grades, and I've figured out the methods to do so and to get high grades. And tests truly don't test; they just tests don't attest, right? So me getting high grades does not mean that I'm inherently smarter than someone who gets lower grades. It's just a way to test somebody at that specific moment in time. So if you got low grades, does not mean you're dumb. Those are completely different things. My bigger point is that we need to start viewing education as this larger conversation that we should be taking with our lives. The framework that has been working for me is we're thinking of middle school as like we're, kind of understanding how society works. Then high school, we're getting prepared to see how adulting really looks like. Prepared, dare I say. Then during undergrad, which at that point it gets to be optional, you're theoretically learning one skill to be specialized. And then the master's, theoretically ultra specialization. But at that point, if you truly want to be able to become a master, like a true expert at something, or at a specific way of looking at the world, you need to continue to study. You need to continue to seek mentorship. You need to continue to, go after people that know more than you. And books are incredible for that. Because when an author puts out a book, it's also this, Gary Vee said this recently, it's also this ego thing that they want to put out something that's good. It's their name. They want to put out a book that's just like, man, this is freaking fantastic. So out of the blue, you're getting this like $20 investment into years of work from somebody else that is very good. So it's like, meanwhile, I have school here costing $70,000 a year. Is it worth it? What's the ROI? What's the ROI? Really? And now, just as a side note, if this conversation seems interesting to you in the sense of I'm sharing the stuff that I read, the stuff that I'm interested in, and you're getting a couple of recommendations from it, I did start a weekly, monthly update newsletter on the stuff that I've been reading, listening, seeing, and learning from the courses I've been taking. I will leave the link below. I'm trying to figure out whether I'm just going to put it in Notion or whether I'm going to make it like a newsletter and send it out an email. There's going to be like a video version of this, which is going to be like 2 or 3 minutes long, and then a written one, because I do think that if I start putting this out there, people are going to respond with their own ideas too, and that's what I'm interested in. If I can share the stuff that I'm reading and people will share it back, because most of these people that I found here, someone introduced them to me. Someone was like, hey, you want to check out that person? Awesome. So, but to answer a very curious question, say, Luis, why are you making this video? How is your channel related to this topic? Well, in this channel, I talk about intentional attention. So think of intentional living, but making choices with your time that are worth your time, being careful about how you spend your time. And education demands attention. So if you're being intentional about the things that you're learning and the things that you are putting into your brain and the things that you are letting in, like what's the input, what's the intake, what are the foods that you're consuming for your brain, like what's thought food thing, you are going to learn more intentionally. And I think that this is a much more positive ROI than necessarily just reading whatever people were telling you to read. If you're being careful about where you're getting your information from, I think that this is going to be a very intentional way of spending your time. And if you are doing this and you are spending your time intentionally, I am very proud of you. Not that it means anything, me, a complete stranger, being proud of you, but if that makes you feel any better, I'm proud of you. So that's it. If this video was interesting to you, please consider subscribing, liking, so I know that there's a space for this type of material. And that's it. Take care. Bye.